Hey folks, welcome to Freedom Decoded. This is our podcast where we let our hair down a little bit. We give you a peek behind the curtain at what's exciting to Demir and myself at the current moment. If you don't know much about us, we are productivity coaches, originally from the US. Now we are expats living abroad, trying to create our personal vision of our dream lifestyle. And we show our clients how to get more productive, organized, and efficient so that they can do the same. And you can learn more about us at lifehackmethod.com. So today we're covering one of our absolute favorite topics of the year, which is a nerdy productivity topic, but it's annual pre-planning. A lot of people talk about doing annual pre-planning, but I don't think anybody does it in quite the way we do it, because we try to create a map of what your entire next year will look like, not just sort of like a long list of goals. So what we're going to be doing in this podcast is sharing the first part of our annual pre-planning, which is our year in review.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. And I think this is almost backed by popular demand because so many people love seeing that peek behind the curtain. You know, it's easy to, put the gloss out there. Look at our life. We work less than 30 hours a week. And, we live in Colombia and look at these like glamorous trips that we're taking. But, this is a nice way for people to get a peek behind the curtain to see, hey, what was the real struggles?
Yeah.
What were the breakthroughs? And just get a little peek at the real of our life. This is such a powerful process, and I think it starts with honesty. So although we will censor a little bit, and, there's going to be a couple of TMI things that we're not going to
left off.
Yeah, we've just left off because I don't think they add anything.
No, but we've left some good stuff in.
Yeah, but we challenge ourselves in these to be as honest as possible because we also know that that's what people want to see.
Yeah.
Is just that honest reaction. So what we're going to do high level is talk about business wins in 2022, business losses, personal wins and personal losses, and then talk a little bit about how we're digesting this initially and how we're thinking about next year.
Yeah. And before we get started, if you're in our Lifehack Tribe membership, Demir is going to be leading a pre-planning workshop. So make sure that you're attending that. We're also going to have all sorts of materials prepared for you to do your own annual pre-planning. So even if you can't make the workshop, you should still be doing your annual pre-planning. If you are not part of our Lifehack Tribe membership, joining just to get this annual pre-planning is totally worth it. So we'll put a link in the description if you want to sign up for Lifehack Tribe.
Yeah, no flex at all. This has got to be one of the best processes that we teach. And there's so many clients who will come back after this and just say, that alone was everything for me.
Yep.
So initial reaction, I want to get yours, but my first initial reaction was we crushed it this year. And I say that if people go back in time, 2 years ago, we had a year where everything went sideways on us and, we didn't hit the goals that we had set out for ourselves. So this year was, I would say, a combination of being prepared and getting lucky. There's preparation and luck, but we crushed it.
A significant amount of preparation. Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah, we had really specific, tangible goals this year, which also really helped.
Yeah.
That it was like, hey, this is what success will look like at various levels. And so just by comparing ourselves to those exact metrics, we have crushed it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about some business wins. I mean, the obvious one is sort of like blaring with the red light. The book was published. We published and promoted the book, and it became a Wall Street Journal bestseller. Which was not, it's so funny, how quickly people will rewrite the scripts.
Right.
When we were going for Wall Street Journal bestseller, we have really close friends who love us and support us who said there is no way, just let it go. You are never going to become a Wall Street Journal bestselling book. And we did.
Lo and behold.
That's not to say, screw you, you don't get us. It was more just like, we took in that information, but also, we set our expectations low. We didn't expect to become Wall Street Journal bestsellers, but a lot of people would hear that and not even try then.
Yes.
And we decided, you know what? Probably it won't happen, but you know what? We're going to try because we spent all this time writing a book that we love. We want to get it to as many people as possible.
Yep.
So let's give ourselves the opportunity. And it costs us real money to make that
we
shot.
had to do a lot of promotion because our book was self-published. And so we didn't have the support of a publisher. And that was the main issue is a lot of our friends who have published books were like, well, you do need that publisher support to get the kind of reach you need to have a Wall Street Journal bestseller. And we were like, yep, totally get that. And then we went back to our corner and we're like, well, how do we get that same reach on our own? And of course, the answer was we needed to use our marketing talents and find the right resources and agencies out there who could help us promote the book.
Yeah, and it ended up becoming a Wall Street Journal bestseller, which was, I think, It's hard to emphasize like how blown away I still am by that.
I'm still a bit boggled by that.
I mean, I love the book. I knew the book was good, but I also, anybody who's familiar with book publishing knows that's good. Writing a good book is a whole different ballgame from having the kind of support you need to promote it and get it in front of people
Right.
to hit a list like that.
Because there's just too many good books now. There's
Yeah.
just, it's a whole different ballgame.
So the lesson, I think, and for those of you who haven't seen our process, we choose a business win, but then every win, every loss, we try to derive a lesson. Like, what did we actually learn from this? To me, it's that we keep proving to ourselves incrementally that things that we had felt were beyond our reach actually aren't beyond our reach. And so every time you sort of go a little bit further than you think you can, and then realize it, it expands the range of what you're willing to do and go for thereafter.
Yeah, and I hate being told I can't do something. It's just, maybe it's a character flaw, I don't know, but I even remember times in my childhood when I was told I couldn't do something and it still rankles me. So it's
Yeah.
so I love trying to solve those sorts of problems. And our new goal for the book is to turn it into a perennial bestseller.
What does that mean to be a perennial bestseller?
Well, nowadays it sort of means to be perennially on a Amazon bestseller list. For us, that's what I would be going for. There are some there are some books that are perennial, like New York Times bestsellers, like some fiction books, or like
Yeah.
James Clear's Atomic Habits,
Yeah.
that are just unicorns. But for us, what I would want to be is just in front of people, in front of the right people, in the productivity space on Amazon.
Yeah. And remember, our big mission is to create a generational change in this problem we're having with balancing work and life. And so for me, the book is a crucial part of that. It definitely helps our business, but we'll talk a little bit later on how it maybe wasn't as helpful as we thought this
Yeah,
year.
right.
It wasn't as additive to our business as we thought, but it's super duper additive to our mission.
Yes.
And so although I have zero doubt that as we continue to promote the book, it will start to create a flywheel that supports the business. Really, it's so supportive of our mission.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Another big win from this past year was our Life Hack Bootcamp sales process. So this is
Yeah.
a sales process that largely Demir has worked on improving, but I've also been working on the operations side to improve. That resulted in a 94% conversion rate on the bootcamp this year.
And let me explain, this sounds like a little bit in the weeds, and I won't get too deep into it, but simply to say that we have a process by which I was doing every single call for every single person who came into the bootcamp. And as the bootcamp grew and my time became more precious, there was this question in the air of whether I could continue to do these calls or whether we needed to hire somebody else.
Yeah.
And I really strongly did not want to hire somebody else. I
Because
didn't
we
want to
have
have a
tried that.
salesperson.
We tried that before, and we decided actually that we wanted to go back to doing it ourselves.
Yeah, I when people join me for the boot camp, it's a very intimate journey that I'm taking with them, and I want to be the one welcoming them in and starting them off with that first call. But at a certain point, it was like a 50% conversion rate. So it was almost like, I'm going to do all these calls. It's going to burn up so much of my time, and only half of these people are actually going to come in. So what I did was conceived of a different process by which they already knew by the time they were in the call whether they were going to join or not, so that we could actually use the call less for selling the person and
Right.
more just for starting their process of getting coached together.
Right.
And so I won't go too much deeper, but just simply to say that now that I know that there's a 94% chance that when somebody gets on the call, they're going to join, it actually just means that it's worth my time
Yeah,
to
because you're
continue
excited
do
to
that.
meet this person. You're like, oh, I'm going to be coaching this person. I can't wait to hear their story and
Exactly.
their background. And I think I want to acknowledge you here because, we've hired so many sales consultants and not one of them has ever suggested a strategy like this.
Yeah.
The whole idea behind sales is keep all the information to yourself. Don't tell the client anything at all until you get on the sales call, and then wow them so much on the sales call that they can't help but buy.
And then pressure them into
Yes,
buying.
and it's a pressure sale. So that's what we've always heard, and we have tried that, and it just always felt so yucky to us.
Yeah.
We couldn't find a way where it was really. We made it work, but not like to the level we wanted it. So the whole idea of like, hey, they're given all the information, all these videos, all these surveys. So like by the time they get on the call, they should already know if they're going to buy or not. And if they don't know that, then there's a problem. Like we have failed
Yeah.
to communicate something to them beforehand such that they know.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's so funny that you brought that up because I do feel so proud of coming up with something that feels 100% uniquely us and uniquely our customer. Meaning, we didn't outsource it or consult with anybody else, because salespeople are always, sales consultants are always about getting you further away from your client. And we were always like, no, I want to at scale get closer to our clients. And I think what I'm most proud about this is just the idea of sort of blocking out the outside world and just making it us and the customer, and iterating inside of that sort of golden sphere and coming up with something that just feels like a massive win-win.
Yeah. So then the third major win that we had this past year was really more on my side of the ledger. If the boot camp is on
this
your
is Carrie's big
side
win.
of the ledger, this is my win. More so, it's a whole team's win, really. But Lifehack Tribe broke the 2,000 member mark.
Yep.
Which is totally something we never thought was going to be possible. It's not, you always hope that you'll be able to reach more people and scale, but the fact that we've been able to do it and so quickly has really blown us away.
Yeah, and done it in a way that feels like, again, gradatum ferociter, terra, right? Done it in a way that's been slow, where if you look at all of the essential numbers that support our business, other people look and say, whether it's our retention rate or our rollover rate, all that kind of stuff, people look at it and say, oh my God, you've got best in the industry numbers. So not only have we grown to 2,000, we've done it without doing any cheap tricks or like burning, inefficiently burning through people, or this is often people scale, but what they're really doing is burning through their customers because they're getting people, but then they're losing them
right away, which means they have to get even more people. And yeah, of course, it's like we're always going to have some rollover every month, but the goal is to keep that as small as possible so that we can continue to grow, and also that means that we're doing a good job, right?
Yeah, of course, that's like the number one. I just want to acknowledge you though on this one. There was so much blocking and tackling that people don't see behind the scenes that led to this growth. The top of funnel marketing that you've done, maybe you could give us like a quick example
For sure.
of some of the really hard work and even setbacks that go into getting to that.
Yeah, I think almost everyone who's part of our community probably saw one of our Facebook or Instagram ads at some point, and they were interested in what we had to say, and so they clicked on that ad. That's sort of what I'm in charge of on the team, is that top of funnel piece. So you might have said, oh, wow, the ad is like really interesting, or I got something out of it. It was like, that's fantastic. But we've probably tested like hundreds and hundreds of ads. So there's only a handful that perform well.
Yeah, people say, how did you come up with that ad? It's like, you don't want to know.
Oh, a lot of testing. My life is constant testing and learning. And by learning, I mean failing.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of setbacks. Heck, like vetting new vendors and agencies and trying different people out, and then even testing different parts of the funnel, like testing different webinars, and most of the time that doesn't go well. Testing new sales pages, most of the time that doesn't go well.
Okay, well, tell the story about the sales page that you spent all that time on and then release.
And the worst part is the ones where you're like, I'm sure that this is going to do great.
Yeah.
So we had this sales page conversion problem, and I was like, I think we can convert more people on our sales page. These people are perfect for Tribe. There should be no reason why they don't take this offer, right? So I was like, okay, let me rewrite the copy. We'll redo the design. The messaging is going to be even more on brand.
It's beautiful.
And
it was beautiful.
It was so nice.
Page.
It looked so great. And everyone was like, yes, it's going to do great. And then I pushed it live, and we did an A/B test, and it performed demonstrably worse
than the current one that we had.
Than the current one. I was like, oh my gosh, like I put so much, not just time and energy, but even money into making sure this is going to be a win. It's like marketing continually proves to you that you are not in charge.
You can, it's like fishing in that you can put your bait in the water, but you're like, I've got the best bait. I'm pretty sure this is where the fish are. And you put it in and you get no bites, and you just have to pull bait and go somewhere else. Try different bait.
You just have to try something else. Yep. So then it's a lot of mindset work for me to not get discouraged and just be like, okay, well, what's something else? Meanwhile, then I made a different, like very, very small tweak on the sales page, so minor as to be what I thought inconsequential.
Yeah.
And it resulted in like a 5% bump in sales.
But I just want to acknowledge, I think that it's important to acknowledge you, and maybe even bring other people behind the scenes, is that it's easy to look from the outside and be like, wow, they've got great ads that are converting, but not see that part of success is the setbacks. Part of success is, rolling something out with such high expectations and it not working, but then maybe taking the rest of the day off, and then shaking it off and starting again the next day, and just knowing that that is part of the process.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just want to say one more thing before we move on. I just love our team.
Yeah, our team is really
We've got
great.
such a good team. And so our direct team of like coaches and assistant coaches and people who do some admin, Kendra, shout out, like I love our team, but also even some of the vendors that you've brought in,
Yeah.
and some of the contractors and vendors that we have I just really love our lineup. And they all perform really well at or beyond expectation, but also they're good people. And so it feels like every day when we're getting if we get on the phone with somebody, or if we're having an email exchange, it's been years since that we've had any drama with anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's just so good to talk to, so reliable. Just love that.
Yeah, our team has been really, really great. There's no doubt. We're also like anti-drama. We're like
Yeah, we repel drama.
repel. We're like a magnet that repels drama. So I think the moment anyone talks to me, they're like, "Whoa, this person is not into drama." Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So that I think also helps.
So let's talk business losses, right? The first is the book did not lead to any kind of huge bump or explosion in inbound traffic to our website. I mean, in a perfect world, the book would have become a Wall Street Journal bestseller, and that would have driven a ton of traffic to Tribe. Now, Tribe is doing great, but it's not necessarily because of the book. It's because what we just said of all of your top of funnel marketing stuff.
Right.
So, is it a loss? No, it's
No.
still in development. We're going to keep pushing the book.
And the book is about more than just driving traffic. It's also about credibility
And mission
and
and-
reaching a different audience than we can reach with those ads.
Totally. But it is an expectation that we had hoped for that didn't come to pass. So I'm going to put in the loss category
Definitely.
for now.
Oh, and just so that everyone knows that when they publish a book,
Yeah. This
it's not
idea
an
that.
immediate result in like so much
Yeah.
website traffic or something.
So the idea here is that we're going to keep pushing behind the book because we've gotten such good feedback that we know that people are reflecting back to us that the book is as good as we thought it was. And so we're going to try to turn it into a perennial bestseller.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe at some point in the future, next year after, there becomes this flywheel effect where it will start to build up and feed back into
Yeah.
the business. But right this moment, it didn't. It wasn't like the month after the book came out, a flood of new sales came in.
And part of that's on like me being a new marketer of a book. Like I didn't know exactly what was going to work, but I already have some ideas about what we
Yeah.
could change about the book to make that work.
But again, lesson for other people, just notice it's that gradatim ferociter, every step passionately, ferociously. I hope if anybody wants to see the secret, like to our success, it is almost 100% just that, our willingness to say, if we've chosen the right leverage point,
Yes.
and we're sure about that, that the book was the thing that we needed to do, then we don't just give up and abandon ship at the first sign of inconvenience or trouble. We just sort of little by little, okay, great, let's try something new, try something new.
Right. Totally.
Awesome. What else?
Another business loss is on Lifehack Tribe. For the members who have our annual plan, the annual renewal rate this year was lower than the previous year.
Yeah.
So that's always concerning because a major metric of our success and are we providing value is seeing those annual members, our most committed members, continue to stay with us in Tribe.
Now, I just want to preface this
Yes.
by saying everybody who we work with in the industry looks at our numbers and literally craps a brick. I mean, they think our numbers are better than anything. And the truth is we are about twice or three times as good as any other membership that we've seen out there. So we've got great numbers. But the way that we think about it is, if we've achieved our goal of creating something that is absolutely invaluable to people's productivity, they cannot live without it, then we would see 100% renewal. And I know
Yes.
that sounds like we're asking for too much, but I think sometimes...
But both things can be true. And we're
Yes.
holding both things in our mind simultaneously.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we both understand that we're in a good place now, but also taking radical ownership. Like, when that number comes down, you need to look at yourself and say, how can we be better? What can we do better? How can we keep driving towards making this, undoubtable value that people, I want people to say, like, I'll go without my Starbucks. I need to keep this thing here because
Right.
this provides so much value for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Let's go to personal
Yeah.
wins and personal losses. I love this first personal win.
I can't believe this is our first one, but
I know,
you were
in
so
no
excited
particular
about it.
order. In no particular order.
All right, fine.
So we bought a new car, and I know
Not
it
just a
sounds-
new car. We did not have a car before. So
We
this
did-
is like our first car we've owned in like 7 years. So
Yeah, and for me, I have never bought a new car in my life.
Right.
I had a used car when I was in high school.
Actually, me too. That's true. I've never bought a new car.
Yeah. So this is the first new car that either you and I have bought. There's a couple wins here. One is we could have taken a model of car that was a little bit more affordable, and we went up for the one that had a lot of the safety features and the whirligigs and doodads. It was fancy. We bought
Yeah.
a fancy dancy fully electric car. The second thing is that, I just want to be part of the future and not the past. And it's clear that the future of automobiles is electric. And so we bought an all electric car that was really badass. It's just an amazing car. So it's both. The win is like, wow, it's all the first car that I ever bought in my life. The first new car was all electric, and that felt like a win for me.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I sound like a car commercial here, but I feel leveled up when I drive this car. You laugh at me all the time because every time we're driving together, I'm like, don't you love this car? I love this car. There's something, they always say that like, oh, whatever, when you purchase something, the novelty wears off and then it just becomes like anything else. I feel like this car was a little different, and this car represents more than just a car. It feels like a leveling up. Like I feel like more of an adult, and I feel more successful driving this car around. And I know, and it's not a sports car, it's not a Lamborghini, but for me, it represented a leveling up.
Right. Yeah, I think for me it was just it's so much it makes our systems run better because with Gigi it's just so much easier to have her in her own car seat that she's used to. I mean, for new moms, you can imagine how difficult it is to like get your child in and out of Ubers and taxis all the time with, her little portable car seat and everything. It's so much more difficult. So this has been nice in terms of just like lifestyle improvement for me. And also I was really pleased because actually the economics around car buying are completely different here in Colombia than they are in the US, where it's like I was taught to always buy used. And now of course with the pandemic, that's even a little bit changing. But here in Colombia, cars hold their value much more.
Yes.
So I was really excited to be able to buy such a nice car that I also know is not going to be like worth nothing down the road.
Totally. Another big win is some people who know us know that we have a not-for-profit sort of couples mastermind that we do simply because we love people. And whenever we meet amazing couples, we want to bring them into this community of couples that we have. It's jokingly called the Power Couples Retreat. And I say jokingly because, it's sort of like tongue in cheek. But the idea is, we were doing it for 5 before the pandemic, and then the pandemic, of course, shut everything down.
For 5 years, you mean? Yeah.
So we did it 5 years, and then the pandemic shut everything down. We took 26 people, 13 couples on a 4-decker boat, 4 weeks, 7 days, 7 nights, all through Croatia. And it was just bonding and beautiful. And, I'm still sort of floating from it. I mean, it really is, it's only a week, a year, but it feels like it recharges my batteries in a very profound way.
Yeah, there's some pictures on my Instagram if you want to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
And it's friendship formation. I mean, I feel like in adulthood sort of naturally strips friendships away from you, but it doesn't give them back, right? So you lose friends just naturally as you fall out of touch and grow different ways, but you don't really get a lot of opportunities to build friends. And so that's just so crucial for me. It feels like a huge win.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other ones that you want to pick out of this list? We got a giant list, but we're just cherry picking the best ones.
Yeah, I think on another really good one here on the personal side is how good you've done on the personal training. How would you describe that?
Like my fitness journey.
Your fitness journey, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have lost 27 pounds of fat and gained 7 pounds of muscle in the last 18 to 24 months. That's taken me from 25% body fat to 16% body fat. And I'm extremely proud of it, and I feel fantastic today. Ironically, I don't feel fantastic, but generally speaking, I feel fantastic.
Usually you feel fantastic.
And yeah, it's just felt like a pleasure the whole time. I mean, I feel like we could do a whole podcast on that, but high level, I'm just really proud of myself for that. And it feels like this time, maybe the headline is this time, instead of doing it because I wanted to see myself with abs or for myself, I think the initial impetus was about you and Gigi.
Right.
Meaning I wanted to make sure that Gigi grew up with a father who was an exemplar of healthy living and healthy eating, because I haven't always been that, and I didn't want to pass any weird bad habits on to her.
Right.
But also for you, we've got a 10-year age gap, and if I kick the bucket, I want you at least to say, well, he was trying.
So depressing.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if I died earlier
Right.
than I
I know
planned
what
to,
you're saying,
I would
yeah.
want you to at least feel that I had been making the effort to be happy or to be healthy.
Right. I totally get it. Yeah. I mean, I think just in general, we want to present to our kids, we want to provide that example of the kind of people that we want them to be.
Yeah.
And we have to do the work in order to make that happen.
Plain and simple. Let's talk about personal losses. I mean, one that's easy. We couldn't control it, but our stocks took even more of a hit. It was like down and then down even more. And it looks like they might even go down even more. I will say that, the silver lining to that cloud, I mean, it's a cloud. I'm not trying to, wash it away. But the silver lining is having bought our house in cash, having bought our car in cash, we actually feel very resilient. Like we can just sort of like turtle in and wait for the invariable upswing to come back. We have also been, even though cash is supposed to be trash, where we know that at some point things will turn around. And so I think we're well positioned, but,
No one likes to see that.
no one likes to see that.
No one likes to check their stocks and be like, I lost more money today.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, that just is another personal loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think another personal loss is here in Medellin itself, in the city of Medellin, we're still feeling like a bit of a lack of community.
Yeah.
Which is important to us, and part of that's just because we're busy. Gigi's in school now, and we have less time.
Business has been blowing up, and we need to, not blowing up in a bad way, but I mean like growing quite
we
fast.
are choosing to spend time preparing for the new baby, and maybe not necessarily like getting out into the community as much, but still, like, that's a loss.
Yeah. We would have imagined this far into living in Medellin that we would have had. We have great friends. Shout out to the few great friends that we do have, but we would have imagined that we would have had
More.
Stronger,
Yeah.
tight-knit community.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's just talk about, as we wrap up. So that's our business wins, business losses, personal wins, personal losses. Again, this is the sort of initial sort of setup to planning your year, because there's no point in like planning your year and setting a goal if you really haven't ingested the lessons from the past year. What did we truly learn this year? And I think there were a lot of lessons to be learned from this past year. So although we're not going to do a pre-planning right now, we already sort of, it feels like just digesting this, we already sort of know what our chief definite aim is for next year. So
And
can you
this
talk to that a
Our
little
chief
bit?
definite aim is something that's sort of like our arrow, like our North Star, like what's sort of like our overarching goal or like destination
yeah.
or ambition for the next year.
Yeah.
And the way we're encapsulating that right now is this idea of chewing and swallowing.
Yeah, having a chew and swallow year.
Chew and swallow everything that we've gained, in terms of we did so much on the top of funnel in terms of the book and all of that marketing, and now we need to sort of like let that sink in through the rest of our business.
Yes. I mean, pick anything you want. Like with the family, we have a new baby coming, so we're going to need to.
By the time this podcast is out, she's probably going to be born.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to adjust to that new family size and all that means.
Yeah.
The book. It's great that the book's out, but actually, there's going to be years of small, chewing and swallowing around the book to make sure that the book has the impact that we really want it to have. Same thing with Tribe. We've grown tremendously to 2,000 people, but we want to make sure that instead of growing to 4,000, a lot of people would say, oh, 2,000, great. Next is 4,000. Actually, the way we're thinking about it next year is, staying at the same level, more or less, not with an ambition to grow per se, but just really an ambition to serve the people that are in that community at a higher level.
Hold our gains.
Yes.
Like we know so well that you can grow so fast and then drop so quickly.
Yes.
And it's like we need to make sure we're holding.
Yeah, consolidating our gains, creating systems that, again, allow us to, do less but create more value. Not doing, and I can't emphasize this enough to people, doing less isn't about you being a lazy piece of what and not wanting to be around your client. What's great about when I do less is it means that I can show up for my client more rested. I can do higher quality work and really be there. So many times in Tribe, whenever we have a call, I don't leave the call until every question is answered and every problem's been solved. And people are always sending me emails like, you stayed on that call for 3.5 hours. hours just doing coaching and helping people. I can't, like, where do you find the time? And I'm like, when I gain time,
Right.
that's what I
right.
reallocated to, because I want to give that time to people in a way where it really shows up for them. I don't
Yeah.
want to be in my email, because nobody cares
Yeah.
if I'm spending 50 hours a week
Yes,
in my
you
email.
can't really reach Demir by email. I don't know if you've tried that. It's not going to work.
So yeah, next year is a chew and swallow year.
Well, tell them about, I want to talk more about this concept of 1/10.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you for bringing this up. Okay. Micro story. We had a consultant come to us and say, you can 10x your business. And Carrie and I both had a horrific body sensation.
Well, we always have. It's like the whole Grant Cardone thing, right? It's like we've been
10x.
told this since we started our
10x.
business. 10x, everyone's after this.
Yeah, 10x. And it's funny because we sort of talked to each other and we're like, why did we have such a bad reaction to 10x? I mean, we should have been jumping for joy. Like, let's 10x. Because that would be more mission. That would be more money. And we realized that our animal self, our emotional self immediately said, well, 10x in the business means 10x work.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. And so what I've been sort of starting to play with is the concept of 1/10. So instead of 10x, doing 1/10, and what 1/10 simply means, instead of growing and making more money or doing more things, what if you actually sustained everything that you had in your life at 1/10 of the work?
Right.
And ironically, that actually sets you up for 10xing your, outward results, whether that's money or, reach or whatever it is that you want, because you are usually the limiting factor in your ambition and in your goals and in your business and
Right.
whatever. You're the limiting factor. So if you can actually provide the same amount of value by doing less work, that actually opens the door for you to sustainably 10x your business.
Right. And do so in a way that does not burn you out.
Exactly.
And kill you in the process. So yeah, it's great because it leverages our animal psychology of like actually wanting to be lazy. But yet we know we're not lazy people. So like we know we will continue to put work in. It's just a great thought exercise. And it feels so much more attainable than 10x. You hear 10x and you're like, oh, okay. Like that sounds so hard.
Yeah.
But you hear 1/10 and you're like, ooh, I could get on board with that.
I can do it. So we're our chew and swallow year. I mean, the real like mountaintop for us would be to do a 1/10 year, meaning instead of looking to increase top line results in some explicit way, we're actually looking to sustain everything that we've gained in the last 2 to 4 years, but do it with 1/10 of the work, so that we can then liberate some of that time and attention to go even further and create, write another book, create more valuable, coaching opportunities for people, and also keep some of that for ourselves and enjoy our life at an even higher level.
Right.
Okay, well, that's it. Gang, if you are in Lifehack Tribe, I implore you, no, I demand that you come to this annual pre-planning that we're going to be doing in this month. And if you're not in Lifehack Tribe, honestly, this is a great month to try. We do have monthly and quarterly programs. So even if you just wanted to join Tribe for a month, and this would be the month to do it, because it is just such a great opportunity to kick your year off strong and have a rock solid annual plan. So even if you don't do it with us, get that annual plan so that you can come into the next year with radical clarity. And we'll be seeing you soon.